It's Drew Estate has theirs, ours. Other people, you know, whether it's in Nicaragua or in Dominican Republic or in Honduras.
You guys that can't see, come around this other back side right over here.
Yeah, we got plenty of room back here.
Yeah, let's get everybody over here. That's good.
Yeah, everybody needs to be able to see this.
That's good. We're good. All right, so before you do it, everybody make sure you're careful because this thing could really just explode. All right? So don't be like...
I'm going to kind of get back.
Yeah, so just kind of protect your eyes.
Is that how you lost the hair on your head?
Yeah. My hair, man. I got hair. I got plenty of hair. I got a super amount of hair. Unbelievable. All right.
So what we're going to try to do here, we've laid the slabs, we've covered them in sawdust, then we came back and we dug a hole in the sawdust here, about every 15, 20 feet. We dig out the sawdust back down to the slabs, okay? So now we're going to take the coals and dump it on those slabs to let them catch on fire. Now, you're probably saying, well, looks like it's an awful lot of trouble to light a fire. Throw some gas in there, diesel fuel, and throw a match on it, and here we go. Well, and that would light the fire, no problem. The problem is we've got the smell of petroleum on your tobacco, and nobody wants to smoke a diesel cigar. So what we do is we light the fire outside. See what you did.
He doesn't know the brand.
You don't know what you
It's a good car, there's nothing wrong with it, but he didn't know that's the brand. Now wait a second, listen up, before you go on, let me just say a couple things. In our last session, I'll tell you guys, I've never seen this part of the process. I've been in the barns. How you doing, dude? Nice to meet you. I've been in the barns. And I've gone in where I can only stay inside with masks and all sorts of stuff all over me to protect you for more than 5 or 6 seconds. These guys go in for like 15, 30 seconds. It's crazy. A lot of the process that you're seeing, I like what you were saying earlier, Robert, about the steak. What I was talking about when I was in Europe and they were talking about smoking eel, or we talk about smoking peat with scotch. When I was talking about that, what you were saying was very interesting to me about the time it takes. So
what we want to do here is, it's just like I'm sure you guys got some. Jonathan was talking about the big green eggs, and then everybody's got some big grills at home and cookers. Which when you're cooking or barbecuing, you want to let that meat. You don't want to rush in and get the meat really hot really quick. You want to take your time. It burns slow. That's exactly right. And that's the same thing we want to do with the tobacco. We want to cure the tobacco. We don't want to cook it. We want to cure it. So what we do with this fire is going to be in here for the next 10 days. And it'll gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger, but we don't want to rush it. We want the tobacco to have time to absorb the smoke and to get that flavor and get that finish on it.
that's what it's all about.
It's all about the flavor.
It's all about that. It's about that slow, crafted. Another thing we were speaking about in the session previous was a good session. We covered really, I like it, because really what you're imparting, what you're bringing the information is the smoking process. It's not one line in a marketing page of your advertisement.
That's right.
The little details of the way you smoke, of the way a guy who smokes peat in Scotland, those little details, why you choose the wood you choose each year. Why? Hello. Hello.
Sorry. Damn, smartphones are smarter than me.
Hello.
Trying to figure out
Well,
how to
there's two different people. I'm sure y'all have all bought smoked sausage in the grocery store.
That's your alarm, homeboy.
And what it is, they're
Now it's a dog
injecting
coming in, but
the
I can't
meat
stop the
with
damn
the
thing.
smoke. It's liquid smoke.
Hang
They
on a
got
second,
liquid
man.
smokes on the ground.
Robert, please, just let me get the guy to turn the thing. You got it?
Got it.
You're the man.
We got a hammer.
Yeah!
Pow! So don't ruin the tobacco.
Pow! Hey, next year, don't tell that guy a ticket. Just kidding, dude. You know I'm playing.
All right, man.
All right, buddy. Sorry about that.
So anyway, we were talking about this smoked sausage you can buy in the grocery store around the country. It's they inject the smoke into this sausage. It's not true smoked sausage. It's not been hung in the smokehouse and fired like we do this tobacco. And that's the same way with a lot of this tobacco process. We take a lot of pride in doing it the right way, and we're not injecting chemicals into the tobacco to get an artificial flavoring. It's a true natural process that we're doing to the tobacco.
You can see it spreading right there. So you guys keep bringing, you come back into the farm over and over or no?
Yeah, so whenever that happens, that's why we got these rakes. When we come in here, we'll have to rake that tobacco down. What's going on? We don't normally have all the doors open.
So you tend this for all 7 days or 10 days?
That's right. We'll come in here and
No,
grab the
21 days, brother. The first 10, and that's what we covered
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
The first 10, he's going to burn through this material that's been prepped. Then 1 day off, which I want you to talk about, and then another 10 days. So when they come back in, and I didn't know this part either, which I thought was cool, is they redo this whole room after 10 days. They smoke the tobacco for 10, just beating it up with the tobacco, with the smoke. 1 day off, and I asked you, or somebody asked you the last round about why you take that 1 day off in between.
Let breathe.
Well, what we want to do is, you can see the tobacco is pliable right now. You can take it and handle it and everything without it cracking up. So after we fired it that first time, that first 10 days, John, this is the second firing on this barn. It's already had smoke under it for 10 days. Well, it gets real dried out from the heat, because as this thing burns, that fire's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and this barn's going to go from 65 degrees now to 140 degrees, 130 degrees, 6-7 days from now. So it's drying the plant out. We're putting the smoke on there, but we're also curing the tobacco so we can take it to harvest, so we can take it to the market or whatever. So in order to do that, they don't want fat stems like you would bring it out of the field, green. So we've got to get these stems drawn down, and heat does that. But in the process, we get it to where you can't handle the tobacco. So, and when the leaf gets that brittle, it doesn't want to take the smoke in. It just, I don't know, some kind of plant process. But so what we do is, in between time, in between the two firings, we try to bring the tobacco in order. Get it is what we call it, where we can handle it. And we can do that 2 different ways. Days like today, where it's really humid outside and kind of mist and rain, the humidity brings the tobacco back in order. If it's let it breathe, that's right. And if we don't have any humidity outside, we have sprinklers in the top of the barn, and we actually, they're yard sprinklers is what they are. It's just a fine mist. We don't want drops, we want a mist, and we mist this tobacco and bring it back in order in between the firings, so that the second firing, the plant, the leaf is able to take that smoke in like we want.
Yeah, really.
Is there a particular wood that you use? So all hardwoods is what we're going to burn in here. We don't want to burn anything besides hardwoods. What kind of determines that is the sawmills around here. We'll go 60, 80 miles to a sawmill to get the slabs that we need, for the fires. The majority of the wood around here is going to be an oak or hickory, things like that. We put some lighter hardwoods in there sometimes if it's a really heavy crop and we need to get it dried down. And we want the fire to burn fast. We'll put some lighter wood in there, but predominantly it's oak and maple and hickory.
How many levels of tobacco you got?
All right, so you can kind of see it on this, and when we walk out, you'll be able to look up, but there's 5 levels of tobacco in here. We call them tiers. And 4 on the sides, 5 in the middle, just because of the way the roof is designed. And when it's all, this tobacco is all hand labor. There's very, very little mechanization at all.
Hey, wait, we'll come back to that in 1 second. How many of you got, because that's about that, the handcrafted side of it is something that we got to cover. How many of you guys have been to either Nicaragua or to Dominican Republic on a cigar safari, or Nicaragua, a factory tour? The last group, it was a lot, man. It was like 35, 40 people who had been out. So for a lot of you, this is your first time in a tobacco barn, right? Yeah. So when you're looking at this tobacco, it's a great question, because in Nicaragua and Dominican and Mexico and Brazil, and then Indonesia, a whole nother thing in Africa. But in the main tobacco areas, each of the farmers in any one country have different styles. So we can be in the 3 main growing areas in Nicaragua, in Jalapa or in Esteli, or in processes that they use in one country, even for the exact same tobacco. If both guys are growing Criollo 98 or Corojo 99 or Habano 2000, whatever it is, their processes could be different. Now, as you go country to country, you even see it further differences. Like one of the things that's very, very, if you've been to Nicaragua or Dominican or any of Cuba on any of these trips, you see that curing barn over there? That curing barn over there on the other side, that's dark air cured tobacco, okay? Especially that column that's right there down, the furthest one to the left. That's dark air cured tobacco that, when we talk about dark fire, I repeat about these food groups. Dark air cured tobacco, when you walk into a humidor in any cigar shop, 99% of the material that's there is going to be dark air cured cigars. Those cigars through and through are going to be dark air cured tobacco. Cured like that in the USA, but not cured in Kentucky, but not cured like that in Connecticut, not cured like that in Nicaragua or Dominican or any Latin country. No Latin country is going to air cure tobacco that way. They're all going to have a closed barn, open the doors for humidity, burn for dryness, not the way we burn here for taste. Burn for dryness. So you bring up the humidity, down for dryness. You keep doing that process over and over. That's the same thing that we do in Nicaragua in the pilones. We make our pilones that are 4,000, 8,000 pounds, and that's how you ferment tobacco. Fermentation is a big word. We could spend an hour or 2 hours talking about fermentation, showing you fermentation. Fermentation is a huge word. What we do here, this style of fermentation, is very unique in the premium cigar industry. You really don't see it. Everything is air cured, even though the barns have doors. When we started to understand the Kentucky tobacco, not looking at the products it's used for, but looking at the products that we can envision and we can imagine, because that's the key, that's what makes Drew Estate, is imagination. This space for us is a magical space because it allowed us to work together to create new products, and we have stuff in the pipeline, you and I, that's gonna freak people out. This shit is really, truly 20 years for me in February. This is unbelievable for tobacco, premium cigar people. When you think about smoking, taste, and if you see those posters around the other barn, it says it's all about the smoke. That's copy, that's called copy, text for one of our upcoming advertisements. But really, that smoking concept goes through now so many different industries, and all of those industries, it's about craft. It's about handmade. It's about handcrafted. It's about hecho a mano, where it's made, who makes it, how'd they make it. There's a thirst for that knowledge. So what you've done for us last year, which was our first year, was really an incredible party. It was, for me, it was like, all right, I've done Cigar Safari since 2008, 20 groups, 16 groups per trip, 16 people per group, and most years we go over and we share trips with Pepin or whatever, 20 trips a year. So on the Nicaraguan side, whether it's Nicaragua, Dominican, any of the Latin countries, when I talk about dark air-cured tobacco, for us, this is a real treat to be able to now move into the second food group, that sector of fire-cured. Last year, if you remember, Robert, we changed the name. We had Kentucky Fire Cured. This year we changed it to Kentucky Barn Smoker because of the introduction of the Pappy Van Winkle product with the family. So that was the first time that we now not only moved forward with creating a new market segment in premium cigars, but it's the first line extension where we actually took a product from that had some heart and some base in Kentucky and started to germinate with that idea seed into the next round. And what we do with the Pappy, we take that Pappy tobacco. Hello, yeah, 3 o'clock. Hey, we're having a great time at Drew Estate. Yeah. Let's do it together, JD. So,
Well, it's been fantastic. You guys think smoking Jonathan cigars are fantastic. It's been it's just out of this world to work with in the ideas he comes up and for something that that I really enjoy doing something my family's done for 100 years. It's really been a pleasure to work for you.
You were a
and to
little
see what you come up.
suspect at first. He's like,
Definitely.
who's this freak show? I come out, I got rings on, all sorts of stuff.
And a minivan.
And the minivan. Yeah. And
How'd y'all
he,
get hooked up?
what'd you say?
How'd y'all get hooked up?
Oh,
I
God.
mean, this
he
is
looked for
definitely a strange
Dude,
He looked for the dumbest farmer around. I was the only one that would go for it. Everybody else said, "We ain't gonna fool with him."
No, that I did. No lies.
Could you explain the difference between this kind of curing and flue curing, where you get the Catadella tobacco, the green? Because I used to work for JB Tobacco Company in Kingston, New York, and we had rings of fire, but it was propane.
Right.
And we used that to heat the tobacco up and made it green. And we usually use bright. And I noticed you have both Burley and Bright here.
So the flue cured is all gas cured. Like you said, using LP. It's Kentucky. We don't raise. I'm not gonna say any flue cured, but if it is, it's a couple acres of flue cured. It's
Hang on.
generally raised in Carolina.
You hang on one second. Let me just, with that question, let me address it directly. The difference between fire curing and flue curing, when I talk about the basic food groups, fire cured, dark air cured, which you see over there, fire cured, Oriental, Burleys, and Virginias, think about the processes in that same manner, George. Think about air curing, one segment, a mechanic, fire curing, flue curing, and why the different types of tobacco. And then there's sun curing. There's 8 different real forms we've identified for the mechanical way to cure tobacco pre-fermentation. Pre-fermentation. When we talk fermentation, we talk about pilons of tobacco, 4,000 to 8,000 pounds, in big bulks that we use air, pressure, and heat. What?
After the hands are tied to make them.
Yeah, there's a lot of steps. What I'm saying is, going right to the basics. The difference, the question you asked was the difference between flue curing and fire curing. Flue curing is about heat. Fire curing is, let me finish, George, is about smoke.
Flavor.
The big lesson of all of it, it's all about flavor, but the big lesson that cuts through everything is it's all about the smoke. Because you know how they say, oh, this is the Mexican decade, or this is the decade of Asia, whatever. This decade in the premium tobacco world is about smoke. Smoking it up. Whether you're smoking up a steak, or you're smoking up scotch, or you're smoking up American whiskey now. American whiskey. They're smoking stuff in Texas. They're smoking stuff here in Hopkinsville. They're smoking in Kentucky. They're smoking all over the place. Smoking.
Way of life.
What'd you say?
It's a way of life.
It's. I'm telling you, I've never seen a cultural movement as strong as bacon, bourbon, Kentucky smoking, backyard barbecue. That whole feel is such a big part of American culture right now. It's moved that way in many different industries: food, beverage, and spirits, and tobacco. So, George, does that get that for you?
Yeah, well, I was just trying to bring it up because I used to be in business and I didn't know, nobody else knew to ask questions.
Who else got a question?
Have you ever thought of using like cherry wood or apple wood for smoking tobacco?
Well, you could, but you're going to get a different flavor on the tobacco. And so when they get, we got this product, when Jonathan gets it, he's going to blend it. So he wants this product to be as even, consistent as he can get it, or whoever's buying the product. So if I put a little apple smoke in this one and not in the other one, and he gets a bale from here and a bale from there, then it'll change his blend. So
You know what you just did, man?
I gave you an idea.
Tomorrow on the it's going to be Kentucky Fire Cured Applewood blend. Boom! Boom! It's done! Shit, that's a great way to sell a whole shitload of it. Yeah! I always used to
got to buy the
wonder.
tobacco from me.
Yeah, of course, dude. Of course, that's the book. That's
pair
funny.
great with breakfast.
Huh?
The applewood, that would pair great with breakfast.
Absolutely.
I'll buy some of them bacon cigars.
So look, who else has got a question?
Do you rotate?
Over there, we got a question right over there. Yeah.
The outside leaf, is that a different species of tobacco, and does that affect the taste of the cigar?
We're going to talk to you about that leaf. This is part 1 of 3 steps you guys are going to take. I'm going to be with you and Robert on 2 of them. There's a step next We're gonna cover that next round over there. And then you had a question over here?
Do you rotate these?
You're the phone guy, right?
It's like you've mentioned the big green egg a couple times, and the way that works, when you close the lid down and you move the thing, it changes the draw of the smoke.
Right.
So I'm assuming the barns work in the same way. When you
That's a fantastic question. I don't know, when y'all were walking around, when you came up this morning, you noticed the dog houses on top that are louvered.
Right.
So there's fans and all down through that. Actually, I've got them all on different switches. So if this end of the barn's not burning like we want it, we can draw more air. Not only that, along all the wall, you notice that there's a tube of 6 on top. That metal runs up and there's a tube of 6. That's also a vent. There's chains hanging down. When we first light these fires, a lot of times we'll open it up to try to draw the air to get the fires going. Right. Then once we get the fires going, we'll let them back down because then we just want it to simmer, to smoke, cure.
For anybody that doesn't know what he just described, if you do buy a big green egg, that's how you get it lit. You close it down, it won't burn.
So what we hope to do today, if everybody hangs around long enough, we're going to get the entire barn lit up here and the doors closed. And after lunch, we'll have the smoke rolling out of the top of the barn. So we're going to we'll get the air going through if everything works.
Dude, you're incredible, brother. Yesterday, like I said, man, my dad, we got in the car and left after we went through our walkthrough. Every year I learn more and more with you. One of the guys asked how we met, Rob, and then your question will come back to. I was just joking with you. Asked how we met. One of the guys said, you said, I think it was hard to hear you on this side. You said I was like hitchhiking or something.
He found the dumbest guy in the room. I was the only one going along with it. Everybody else told you no. I was the only sucker.
And that is definitely not true. So you know what? The way we met is when you go to the next barn over, barn D, you're going to meet a guy there named Lee Crawford. Some of you guys met him last year. He did a little more interactive stuff than Robert did this year. And Lee introduced us because he works for a company called Hale and Cotton, which is a real solid company and based in 11 different countries. They do tobacco all over the place. Very good company, big company. The local guy, Lee Crawford, he introduced me to Robert because I was looking for the best farm in Kentucky. Not the farm that I'm going to get the best price. Not the farm that I'm going to have, the most control over. I want the best tobacco in Kentucky. So he said, we're going to take you to Robert Gray. And I know that you were talking earlier about the 60-mile radius.
Right. So George was asking a question about this flue cured and fire cured and all like that. And I told the last group, I said 95% of all fire cured tobacco that's produced in the United States is produced within a 60-mile radius of right here at Hopkinsville. It's kind of unique to this area, and one thing that does make it unique is Kentucky's terrain and all the hardwoods we have here. So you can't go out west and raise it because it's a desert. You all right?
Yeah, keep going.
But anyway, that's what makes the Kentucky fire cured unique. Is all those things put together. We've got the sawdust, we've got the slabs, and then in the growing season and humidity makes a big difference too.
Do you grow all of your own tobacco then?
100%. We start out in March, and little tiny seeds are going to show you, and we see that all the plants in a greenhouse, and then we keep them in the greenhouse till May. We go to the Derby. I'll take Jonathan up there, but we go to the Derby, and it's always the first Saturday in May, and we come back, try to get our heads straight on Sunday, and we start setting tobacco Monday.
Hey, listen, you guys, let's give Robert a hand.